All right, now that we've tacked in the pleats on our front bodice, what's going to happen now is we're gonna pleat in. Sorry, now that we've tacked in our front bodice pleating, we're gonna have to pleat in the sleeves, okay? And again, those center points are very important when you're pleating. Okay. Yep. Downstairs. Okay. Point A, point B, point C, and we said this would be point D, right? So before we get from point C to point D, we're going to need a midpoint between that, and that will mark where our sleeve pleating will end and the back bodice will begin, right? Trust me on this. Okay, so what's going to happen now, if you followed the steps correctly, this is what you'll be left with. Okay, what I've done is tacked in the side of the armhole here to the side of this bodice armhole. I've done the same to this side. So now we've got two open arm sleeves here. We have the band here as well, and we're just gonna wanna mark out the midpoint between point C and D, and we'll call that point CD, and that's where our band will end before we begin pleating the back bodice. Okay, so how do we mark the points between C and D? Just like in tutorial 1, we're gonna fold this in half where point C is and the edge here, and there we go. That's point CD there. Okay, I'm just gonna mark it in with this colored pin, right? And I'm gonna do the same on this side. Just fold it in half right here from point C to point D, and we have our middle there. And this is where we're going to end our sleeve pleats, right here. Okay, so just double check before you begin pleating, and then you find out that your pleats don't make sense, so don't add up. So the point from here to here should be about 9 centimeters, remember, because from here to here is around 9, and the same on that side. So let's just try and match that up. So it's around 9, because remember I've given about 2 inches to be folded in.
Don't come.
9 cm. Right. So from here to here measures, I'm not talking about point C to point CD, it's 13 centimeters, and that's actually good for our sleeve length here. And we have 9 inches here. 9 cm here, plus 2 inches for seam allowance, which is great. Okay, let's double check that. 9, 18. Okay, great, perfect. Okay. We are going to pleat in.
Rain, what?
Huh?
Lily rain.
Yeah, lily green. Aste. In. So. Ronnie is awake.
Yeah.
It's just Jason that's namasilip. Buddy, first once you come on top, huh? Man, I was too far away. Anyway. Okay. Point C to point D is around 26 centimeters, and the middle of that is 13. Okay, so we've marked that in already just with a blue pen, and we're going to be pleating the sleeve from here to here. This is where the sleeve will stop, and for point CD we're going to pleat all the way to point D, and that's the back bodice. So we're going to give 1 inch to join into this side. Great. So let's start pleating. Let's connect the sleeve corners now. Okay. Zone out, pan out so you can really see what's happening here. Okay. So we're gonna stop here. So let's get the edge, right? Edge of your sleeve here, the top of the sleeve, and it's connected to point CD by pinning it into place like so. And we should have all this excess sleeve here to pleat with.
How much? 1 kilo?
Okay. So I'm just pin into place now. The edge right here, and let's start pleating. Okay, so I know originally wanted a tutorial on pleating. The idea here is really just being balanced with your pleats. Okay. So pleating with this particular Meri blouse is very important because you're not going to be using gathering or elastic, so your pleats have to be on point or your blouse ends up looking funky and just unbalanced and all over the place. Okay, so I'm just doing this freehand, but you can do what I've showed you, the technique of finding that center point. You can do that again here, the points between C and CD, and that will ensure that you get really balanced pleats. Okay, I've made 3 so far, and they're about the same size. Just looking at them, and they're just following the general direction of the front bodice pleating, and that's coming out towards my right, the bend. So just gonna continue until I reach the end, keeping in mind how much excess material is left and can be pleated into the bend evenly without changing the size of the pleats. So that's looking good so far. So for women who have been sewing for some time, this pleating part comes in very easily, naturally. They get it right the first time. For some of us, we have to do it over and over again before we get it right the first time. But here we go. This looks perfect. So I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pleats, and they're all balanced, they're equal, and